Now at 6, the hunt is on for any remaining members of the Paris-Brussels terror cell before another deadly attack. The latest developments in the Brussels terror investigation just ahead.
And here at home, the governor fights back against critics of a new LGBT law, saying they may have the wrong story.
This is WCNC NBC Charlotte Morning News.
Good morning. We'll get to our top stories in just a minute. First, let's talk about your forecast. You're taking a live look right now at uptown Charlotte through our view cam. Looking pretty clear out there, but it's dark, so it's misleading.
Well, it is misleading because it's cloudy here.
All right.
And if you go south of Charlotte, it's foggy. You go north of Charlotte, the skies are thin.
We're just
so you can see the moon through there. So there's a lot going on.
Well, thanks so much for joining us here at NBC Charlotte this Saturday morning. I'm Rachel Roller alongside meteorologist John Wendell. John, everyone wants to know sunrise services, Easter egg hunts. What's the deal?
Well, what's the deal is we have a chance for a few showers scattered about today. Should be light, not really a problem. Tomorrow there's a better chance for your Easter Sunday. All right, let's put it all together for you. Good morning, everybody. Let's check out the temperature. 58 degrees here in Charlotte, but it's 59 in Rock Hill and 60 degrees in Monroe. But farther to the north along that I-40 corridor, you're looking at 40s to around 50 degrees or so. Now, here's a look at the visibility, and you're looking at about a half-mile visibility, or now it's down to 1.7-mile visibility in Gastonia, a third of a mile in Shelby, but a 2.5-mile visibility in Rock Hill. You get the point. Farther south you go, the visibility is much lower, and that's because there's some fog there. And because of that fog, the National Weather Service has issued a dense fog advisory for our South Carolina counties. That includes York County, the Rock Hill area, down through Chester, over for Chesterfield County as well. So our forecast for today, don't expect to see a lot of sunshine. Farther north you go or toward the mountains, you may see some sun. But for the Charlotte area, expect to see clouds today. But temperatures just won't move very much, starting off in the 50s, topping off into the low 60s. And there could be a few widely scattered showers this afternoon, about a 30, maybe 40% chance. We'll take a look at who has the best chance when I come back in just a little bit. Rachel.
All right, John, thank you so much. Sparking outrage in people across the nation, North Carolina is making national headlines after state lawmakers passed what critics are now calling the most anti-LGBT law in the country. Major companies like Facebook and Google are taking a stance against the law, which blocks LGBT protections in the state. NBC Charlotte's Diana Rugg is live in Uptown this morning. Now, Diana, state leaders are really fighting back against this backlash. Is that right?
The governor, the head, the big Republican governor, is saying that he has sent out a list of 18 what he calls myths, saying things that people have basically gotten wrong about the new law. Now, this is happening just as the Attorney General, who is running against him for governor, calls the new law a national embarrassment. Protests erupted around the state after the state legislature passed the new law in a special session this week to basically overturn Charlotte's anti-discrimination ordinance and prevent other cities from creating them. Major companies, including now Facebook and Apple, and also our big banks like Wells Fargo and Bank of America, have all gone on record saying they're not happy with the new law. But the governor says businesses and private sector companies can still make their own anti-discrimination policies, provide single-use transgender bathrooms, even allow employees to use the bathroom they identify with. That hasn't stopped the outcry, however.
This backlash was entirely predictable. This is the most sweeping anti-gay legislation in the country. As soon as I saw it, it was obvious they didn't understand what they were about to unleash.
And we're keeping up with this for you. If you would like to read the governor's 18-point statement, you can read it on our website at WCNC.com under the headline, HB2 puts NC in the national spotlight. Reporting in Uptown, Diana Rugg, NBC Charlotte.
And Diana, before we let you go, it's not just big name businesses publicly criticizing this law. Some big names in sports are also getting in on this. Is that right?
We also heard from the Charlotte Hornets. They say they are against discrimination in any form, not just for their players, but also the employees and any guests or fans who come to the arena. And just this last night, the Charlotte Observer got Steph Curry on record saying that he hopes Charlotte can still host the NBA All-Star Game here in his hometown.
All right, Diana, thank you. We'll check in with you in a little bit. And national figures aren't the only ones fighting against the bill. Members of the LGBT community are also standing their ground right here in the Carolinas. One North Carolina college student posted on Facebook about the bill, and now it's going viral. Adam Plant was born female, but now lives his life as a man. In the post, he says, quote, "I'm tired of my state supporting hatred and bigotry. I am tired, but that doesn't mean I will ever stop fighting."
That we breathe the same air, we bleed the same blood, we have the same spirits and the same souls that everyone else does.
Your student at Wake Forest School of Divinity says he hopes the law will be overturned. Until then, he's going to keep being a voice for the LGBT community. And we're going to keep following the story as it develops. When we're not on air, you can always find more on our website, WCNC.com. We're going to pick up our coverage in the next half hour. Right now, a local man is facing charges after Scene PD says his drone almost crashed into a police helicopter. The chopper, which is named Snoopy, was called to East Charlotte to help look for a suspect early yesterday morning. Police tell us 26-year-old Christopher Baucom launched his drone at the same time and came within a few hundred feet of the helicopter. Officers on the ground were arguing with Baucom to land the drone. Police say this could have turned into a very dangerous situation.
These drones only have little tiny LED lights on them, so it's nearly impossible for us to see the drones at night. That's why the FAA says you can't even fly these drones at night.
Baucom is now charged with interfering with an investigation because he refused to land the drone at first. Police told us that they took a look at the drone and saw that its size needs to be registered, so Baucom was also charged for not having that done. Also in East Charlotte, police are searching for the person who robbed a Bojangles on North Tryon Street. It happened last night. Police aren't releasing much information at the time, but we're going to keep making calls and let you know more information as it comes into our newsroom. We now know what started a fire at Mimi's Cafe in North Charlotte. Charlotte Fire says it was a discarded cigarette. Take a look at this cell phone video. Firefighters were called to the restaurant across from North Lake Mall yesterday afternoon. The fire was so big, crews had to call for backup. The restaurant was open when the fire started, but everyone was able to get out safely. Authorities say it caused about $250,000 in damage. ConAgra Foods is paying the price for an explosion at its plant back in 2009. A jury ruled yesterday the company has to pay more than $108 million in a civil lawsuit stemming from the incident. The jury found ConAgra was negligent in the explosion at the Slim Jim plant in Garner, North Carolina. Now that explosion killed 4 people. The explosion happened while crews were installing a water heater. Right now, authorities in Europe are on the hunt to stop the next terror attack after the ISIS attack in Brussels. Security forces are going after those responsible for Tuesday's deadly attacks. This after the announcement that U.S. Special Forces killed ISIS second in command. But that killing doesn't mean we're out of harm's way. Police are conducting several raids in Europe. On Friday, more than a dozen people were arrested in Brussels alone. 2 others were arrested in Germany. Police say they think the people are linked to ISIS and the latest attacks. Now, United States Secretary of State John Kerry is in Brussels right now. He says ISIS is looking to retaliate.
There's serious pressure being put on them, and I think that's going to raise the potential that some of the people who've been sent out of Syria over the course of the last 5 years may try to act out in other places.
Right now, European security officials say the race is on to root out what's left of the terror cell responsible for both the attacks in Brussels and Paris before they strike again. ISIS is also claiming responsibility for a suicide bombing attack at a soccer match in Iraq. We do want to warn you before you take a look at this video, this footage might be disturbing to some of our viewers. Now, it happened yesterday just south of the capital. 29 people died. 60 others were hurt. Security officials say the bombing came as an Iraqi military spokesperson announced Iraqi troops and Sunni tribal fighters recaptured a town from ISIS. The U.S.-led coalition estimates that ISIS has lost almost half of the territory it once held in Iraq. Officials say there could be more attacks as ISIS continues to lose ground. Coming up, Ted Cruz continues his attacks on Donald Trump, but it's not about their wives this time. The rumor that has Cruz up in arms. And the 3 states will decide today between Clinton and Sanders, where the state of the Democratic race is right now. You're watching NBC Charlotte. Welcome back. As Republicans campaign without the pressure of an election today, Democrats don't exactly have that same luxury. Today, Democratic voters in Alaska, Washington State, and Hawaii head out to caucus for either Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton. The biggest state at stake right now is Washington, with 118 delegates up for grabs. So let's take a look at where the numbers are right now. Right now, Clinton is in the lead with 1,658 delegates. Sanders is sitting at 948. A Democratic candidate needs 2,383 delegates to win the party's nomination. Obviously, these numbers are going to change after today's contest, so we'll keep you updated on those latest results. Sanders hits the campaign trail in Seattle ahead of today's vote. Thousands of people were there as he talked about how he always imagined he would have a bat in his hand rather than a speech if he was standing at home plate on a baseball field. He spent a lot of time at the top of his speech saying how Republican frontrunner Donald Trump will never be president because of the language he's been using. Sanders also pointed to national polls to say he would beat Trump by a bigger margin than Clinton would. Clinton has also been spending some time to bash Republican candidates, telling supporters Trump's rhetoric against Muslims could put America in jeopardy.
It is not only often offensive, but dangerous.
And during a stop on Jimmy Kimmel, Clinton also said she's never seen language like this at the presidential level. Now, Democrats aren't the only ones taking an aim at Trump. Republican rival Ted Cruz is also pointing the finger with stronger language than we've ever seen before from the candidate. This time, a visibly angry Cruz is responding to a National Enquirer story alleging he's had an extramarital affair, calling them absolute garbage, those rumors that he's saying, and pointing the finger at Trump's camp as the source of the rumors.
Let me be clear, this National Enquirer story is garbage. It is complete and utter lies. It is a tabloid smear. And it is a smear that has come from Donald Trump and his henchmen.
Even with all of these attacks coming from both parties, Trump is still polling at the top of the Republican pack. Take a look at these numbers. Trump still has a strong hold in the first place with 752 delegates. Ted Cruz is behind him with 470. And in third is Republican John Kasich with only 143 delegates. A Republican candidate needs 1,237 delegates to win the nomination. And again, as these numbers come in for today's races, you can get the breaking results sent straight to your phone. Just download the NBC Charlotte mobile app.
We have some clouds and some fog around the Charlotte area, but look to the south. There's a few showers. They seem to be lifting to the north. Could we see one or two of those today? I'll have the details.